All right, Zach, 38-6 in favor of the Longhorns. I guess that 14.5 point spread, it was easily covered.
It was covered. No chance. No chance.
What do you kind of take out of this one from a Baylor perspective? Not a lot of bright spots, really.
No, not really, other than a couple of punts recoveries. We'll get to that. But man, it's just for a team that is so focused on energy and wanting to create that excitement and kind of come out with enthusiasm and all that, there was none.
Yeah. Well,
from the go.
There was, I thought, great excitement from the crowd. Like,
oh yeah,
they showed up.
I'm talking about the team.
Yeah. No, I get what you're talking about. And I thought early on, it's only 7-3 after a quarter. And I thought the defense made some good hits early. Got a couple stops for some punts. And so, for a minute, you're thinking, okay, maybe this is a game here. And then Texas was Texas.
They just kind of blew it open, 40-yard run up the sideline, and they score on 3 of 4 possessions in the second quarter. And Baylor just never caught up. They never really got going to start, and then they never caught up. So
yeah, and as I wrote in my column, Texas doesn't need any help to be good. They're good on their own. But Baylor helped them plenty. I thought the false starts were an issue again, maybe not quite as many as they've had in some games. The drops by the receivers were pretty disappointing.
Right.
And, just the inability to punch it in. When you get 6 trips to the red zone, you get 0 touchdowns.
6 total points and 2 turnovers.
Yeah, that's crazy. And, couldn't run the ball. Now, I give Texas a lot of credit for that.
Right.
Because obviously Baylor did run the ball last week against a very different opponent in Long Island. But, it's a different story trying to run against that D-line of Texas.
I like Sawyer Robertson. I don't think he necessarily had a great game, but he made some throws that, maybe there's some hope there, to develop into something a little bit more consistent, but I don't think that's going to happen a week from now at UCF.
Yeah.
Shapen's back by then, but
to me, it felt like a very much of like a 1 step forward, 2 steps back kind of game for Sawyer, because you're right. I thought one of the other bright spots for Baylor, which they were few and far between, was some of the deep balls.
Mm-hmm.
They connected on some deep passes, and so he threw some balls that you were like, okay, that's a great toss. But then, on the same drive that he hits Monterey Baldwin with a great pass, they're right on the doorstep of the end zone. Then he throws a really ill-advised. At the time, it looked like, 41 for Texas was his receiver. It was right to the guy.
Some of the play calling is just questionable, right? I like, what was it, the first half they went for it on 4th down trying to end that Texas run, but they run it kind of up the middle when you're averaging like half a yard per carry. So some of the play calling in that regard is just kind of like, what are you doing? There were better options, I think.
But, I'm with you.
I don't make the big bucks.
No, I think there is definite room for criticism with the play calling. So after the game, Aranda called it a make or break kind of moment for Baylor. You start off this 4-game homestand, 1-3, not where Baylor expected to be at all. Maybe 2-2 you could have envisioned against 2 really good teams in Texas and Utah. Obviously, they did not see that Texas State loss coming. So next week they go to UCF. Is there hope?
Man, I guess I've been the optimist of the two of us.
Right.
But I think some of that is starting to to fade a little bit.
Well, you are what you repeatedly do, as somebody once said, and Baylor has repeatedly. To me, this offense is painful to watch right now.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it wasn't. Yeah, you're right. It is. It's just, especially against a team like Texas. Were we overblowing Long Island, and are we overblowing Texas? Is Texas just?
Well, I didn't think it was that exciting to watch against Long Island either.
But it was efficient.
It was better, but it didn't. To me, it didn't tell us much.
Yeah,
and certainly Sawyer has had his struggles, and especially with the turnovers. I mean, that's the thing that you just can't have. I mean, if you're going to win games, it's the turnovers. So the Longhorns are good. I mean, give it up for Texas. They're going to be probably in the Big 12 championship game.
Yep.
And it could be Texas OU, which, again, a note from my column, I said that's, Brett Yormark's worst nightmare coming to reality. But, what are you going to do?
Yeah, and I want to go back to the crowd. I know you skipped. That was like, McLane was hopping.
It was great.
For the first quarter, I know the students had their little blackout design.
Yes.
It was a really cool atmosphere.
It was great. I mean, it was the last game between Baylor and Texas, so I think people were jazzed about that. And honestly, I thought Baylor fans stuck around even longer than I thought they might. I thought at halftime there was a chance people would leave, but they stuck around. And then when it got to 38-6, you saw both Texas and Baylor fans heading for the exit.
Things were clearing out pretty quick.
Yeah, and it was speaking of clear, it was very clear Baylor was not coming back. I mean, all it was at that point was, could Baylor maybe get a garbage time touchdown? No, they could not. They had another chance at the very last play of the game. Drop. I mean,
very fitting.
Yes, it summed up the game. I do want to make note of one other thing. I did not see hardly anybody else tweeting about this, to the point where I was like, did I overreact? But like Texas's, was it their first touchdown or second touchdown? I want to say their second touchdown. The pass to JT Sanders, that his name, right?
Yeah.
To me, they got away with a clear hold on the edge. I mean, and I saw a lot of the UT writers, and I wouldn't call them homers or anything like that, but I saw a lot of, great block on the edge, and I was like, am I missing something in here? Because it looked like, it
was pretty clear.
Yeah. So again, Texas does not need any help. It would not probably have changed the game much. Texas probably would have still scored on that drive, but nevertheless, I mean, that was like right in front of the ref. I didn't understand that. So anyway, we'll see what happens in Orlando next week. Zach and I will both be there. It'll be interesting because I do kind of agree with Aranda. You're a third of the way through your season now, your regular season, and this does feel like sort of a crossroads.
Right. But and I think that looking at least the next two games, UCF and then Texas Tech, if UCF is down their quarterback, he didn't play today, and then Texas Tech is maybe not as good as we thought they were either.
Clearly not as good.
If 2 games, can you get some momentum? I'm not going to make any predictions right here. I'm done with that.
Well, right, and Blake Shapen did suit up today, did warm up today, and that's got to be a good sign for Baylor because Shapen played really well in the Texas State game. And they would like to have him back.
I think that would make a big difference. And yeah.
Okay. Awesome. Well, we'll see. We'll talk to y'all next week. So, all right.